late women of color, ladies of color who also were pregnant and in the home with me, you know, but there were a few more of them who were able because they had a really close family supportive of them. And the parents would help raise their children, and so they were a much more welcoming race than mine was, to be absolutely honest. That's just the way it was. But, you know, we all were there. We all, I know, suffered the same humiliation, the same degradation as everybody else. But I want to make sure I mentioned that one. And I already talked about being perfect and brainwashed.
They realized that Suzanne retired. I was like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be retired. So, it's a good illustration.
Yeah. Two other things I just wanted to mention. Actually, the call from Sherry and the reunion. So, there's a call that comes into our house. And my husband Dale is right there, my best buddy. 40 years now.
Yeah.
What?
Answer it.
Nearing 41, he hopes. Anyway, so I get this call at school, and it turns out, the call comes in at home, and Dale and our middle son, Jeremy, are home, and I come home for lunch. His first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "You got a phone call today." And Jeremy goes, "Mom, I think it's the girls." Now, just to give you a footnote, as soon as the boys were old enough, like becoming teenagers, even maybe before that, we told them about the sisters that they had. So it wasn't as secretive as some of these women in the book had to go through, where they kept it all to themselves. One of my very, very closest friends went that route. She went to Ireland, had the baby, gave it up for adoption, came back, never ever told her parents, till Carl found her 2 summers ago. And then, you know, and he had 2 biological, a brother and a sister. I mean, same parents, and that was really traumatic for Lauren, and I was able to really support her in that experience. But I was extremely fortunate that my parents were accepting of me, that my siblings were. Now, understand that the sharing of the information did not extend to the extended family, though. Okay, didn't tell Grandma and Grandpa. But my parents and my brothers and sisters knew about it, except for the youngest one. They didn't until my younger sister was taking letters to the post office, and she came home one day and she said, "Mom, you know those letters you keep writing to Reggie White? I know who that is." And Mom said, "You do?" She said, "Yeah, it's Susan." And my mom got down on her knees and she hugged me so good. She said, "That's she made a mistake, and she's there and she's going to grace some lucky family with her child." So anyway, but we didn't really tell most people. So anyway, I get home and they say they think it's the girls, and I said, "Nah, I don't, you know, it's probably somebody." My older sister is a social worker in Marin County, counselor in Marin County. It's probably one of her clients, and it's a mother who can't get what she needs in terms of support for a special ed child, and she would always refer them to me. Call Suzanne. She can tell you what goes to jump through with the Department of Public Instruction. So I just, you know, poo-pooed it, but I really knew in the back of my mind that it was probably. And so the next day I get a phone call at school, and it was Catholic Social Services. And I said, "Who's calling?" And she said, "Catholic Social Services." And she said, "You know what this call is about?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Yes, someone's looking for you." And I said, "Yes." You know, because like I dreamt about that, and my greatest fear ever, all my life, from the time that I gave them up, was if they ever do find me. You know, I pray that they're safe and they're sound and they're happy. If they ever do find me, I know they're going to hate me. because I gave them away. I threw them away. Not on purpose, not through any fault or choosing of my own, but my greatest fear was that they would hate me. I can't even tell you how many conversations I had with my two sisters about that, rocking on Court Street, saying, you know, my greatest fear is that they will find me and they won't find me because they hate me. So, but didn't sound like she was looking for me, so I figured, well, if she's looking for me, she can tell me that when we meet. And so we made arrangements. I zoomed down to Green Bay, signed the papers. We both got the phone numbers, and she was going to call that night, 1 o'clock. So, okay, he decides to get outside and cut lawn or something to be out of the way so I just had some privacy. So I'm really nervous about the whole thing and thinking, you know, can this really be happening? It was like really surreal. And so anyway, she called, and before she called, I had already smoked like 6 cigarettes and drank 2 glasses of Merlot wine. So we get on the phone. I hear her voice. She sounds like me. I'm thinking, yep, she sounds like a daughter of mine. And we talked for several hours. Yeah, just and like even talking about the conversation when she went. The caseworker who matched us up said to me when I drove to Green Bay, I left school. I went to the principal's office. She didn't know about it. And I said, Patty, would you sit down, please? I have something to tell you. I said, I'm leaving right now because I have to go and meet a daughter of mine. She said, I know you didn't, I said to her, I know you didn't know about this daughter, but yeah, there were 2 of them. And she said to me, after I explained the whole thing, she said, well, now I understand who you are. And gold. So I left. Went to Green Bay, got the papers. The gal says to me, how does it feel? And I said, surreal. Okay, like something I never really expected to ever be a reality in my life on this earth. But, you know, and when we talked on the phone, she had asked Sherry the same thing, and Sherry used the same word. Plus, Sherry was drinking the same wine as I was. We were on the phone with each other during the conversation.
Like Twilight Zone, like I lied to my professor at my graduate seminar. I'm like, I just go pick up a friend from the airport, drove straight to the liquor store, bought a pack of smokes and a bottle of wine. Do the exact same thing before the call. It was very kind of eerie. I know.
Really, really weird. But one last thing I want to say before I open it up. That day after Sherry made the phone call, we were set to meet, and I knew that that we were going to see each other. Actually, after the call and I came home and told Dale it was you, that I went to Green Bay, then I came home that afternoon, late evening. The next day, the way that we did this was he worked night shift, like second shift, and I taught during the day. So we had like 25 minutes by the time I got home and would get back to work. We had 25 minutes for lunch. That was our time with each other. And I would walk in the door, and lunch was on the table, and sometimes I'd have to use the bathroom, and he'd say, do that, I'm still tired. That was our 25 minutes a day. And I came home that next day, and there was a beautiful flower arrangement on my plate, and it had carded it, and it said, congratulations, it's girls. See, that's why we still around. That's the kind of support everybody would, you know, only dream of. So since then, Sherry's been well received by my family extremely, to the point where she stood up for our youngest son John's wedding, John and Ann's wedding. Become very close, consider each other brother and sister. Very much so. So I feel very blessed to be part of her life. And the fact that, go figure that, she and her twin sister are both teachers. Nature nurture.
I know.
You know, go figure. Although her mom intended to become a teacher and just didn't pursue it. But so anyway, since then I've been coming to her class. This class, cry a lot and then go out for dinner and have some wine to debrief, decompress or something. But anyway, any questions you have? It's interesting to actually, one of the sad things for Sherry, and I'm going to just say that, I'm just going to assume that her sister has not chosen to meet me. Now, on my part, I feel blessed to know one, okay, and her sister has a husband, 2 children. They already have 2 grandmothers, okay. I totally get it. And the last thing I would ever want to do would be to interfere. I've not met her parents at all. We send messages or give information back and forth. We trade off like Christmas candy, Christmas treats and stuff like that. But we haven't actually met, and I feel like my cup overflows already. So I'm blessed. I felt only 10% of guilt, maybe less. But I'm 62, so I have time to make up the difference.
Questions? If any of you guys have questions, ask away.
Go ahead.
So, you said your like your family was very supportive, but like when you came back, did you feel like you could always talk about how you felt? Because it must have been very difficult. But even like it stays with you. So like even if it was 5 years later, did you always feel like you could go to your parents and say whatever you had to say?
I did, more so with my mother. Well, she was always, we lived in Arkansas. And my voice goes up. Sorry. But I couldn't wait to get to my parents' house in Arkansas, and then I'd go to my mom, and I would just cry. And I could always go to her. And she would always understand and know how I felt. And when she passed away, that was really hard. Because I lost that part of it. But my dad and I, those papers that Sherry sent around, oh God, I hate that one of my books. When those papers that you pass around, my dad and Sherry gave me, I had never seen them, ever. And so Sherry gave me a set, and I took it down after my mom passed away, and my dad had remarried. And so Dale and my stepmom were in the house, and my dad and I went out to the porch, and we read those papers. And it was like my dad filled in other things along the way, like, okay, I had worked the whole time that I was in that foster home. I worked like temp services because I was going to save up enough money to pay my hospital bill and the hospital bill for the baby. Well then, shoot, I had 2. So